Coping trick. Crying, especially really loudly, to allow for an energetic release and connect with subconscious parts unconsciously. Or unconscious parts subconsciously, depending on how you want to look at it, is to cry into your hands. Not so that your hands are on your face, so they're in front of it. Like this. About like this much distance. It's like a few inches. I'm going to demonstrate, so don't be alarmed by the loud sound. So when hands are just a few inches away from the face like that, and there's crying, what happens is the vibrations from the sobbing exhales will hit the hands. And parts live inside of our body, and parts feel vibrations when they can't process sound. And when parts feel the vibration of us crying, they feel the tangible evidence of us making space for their presence, for their pain, for their story, for their healing. And so that's been really helpful, because I know for me, living with a dissociative identity, I have a hard time staying present when I cry. But crying has been a very critical, paramount piece of my healing journey. And it was only recently I started to be consciously present while I cried. And once that happened, once I was more aware, once I was more conscious while crying, because all of this time, all these years of sobbing, the sobs were unconscious. And it's very, very healing to cry regardless. But I reached a new season of the healing journey where there is awareness. And when we can witness our own crying, when we can be consciously present with the experience of a sobbing release, energetic release through crying, through tears, through the creation of tears. It's all nervous system. Tears come from our nervous system, so we're connecting with our nervous system when we allow for these tears to flow and be created in our little eyes. Eyeballs! Tears come from eyeballs. We actually enjoy the process of watching eyes well with tears, watching how they are, and then watching this little pool of water grow and the contrast of the color changing. It's actually very profoundly miraculous to witness. But anyway, once I became conscious with my crying, it became harder to allow for the exhales to be so loud. But the louder they are, the more parts are feeling a sense of energetic release. And so my little whimpering crying, it was helping me connect with my emotions as a normal life self person, but it wasn't helping parts release the pain that they were unconsciously feeling. And so putting my hands in front of it helps me be present with crying, because I know I'm not just crying for me, I'm crying for other parts of me that I can't get to right now. I'm crying for parts of me that have been carrying me through. And they deserve that. They deserve to feel my presence with their pain in a tangible way where I'm witnessing them without blending with them. And that's really tricky to do, but it's very, very important, very healing. And so this is just a little coping trick that we've come up with. And so if I cry, my hands are here, then not only is my inner being feeling an energetic release from the crying, but my ability to witness the sensation as I connect my awareness with parts, as I connect my observing self with the pain carried unconsciously. Having this here to catch the vibrations of my sobs, it creates an impactful sensation where I can be present through the experience more, and parts feel more of that presence. It's a double whammy. It helps all parts, conscious and unconscious alike. So here, try it with me. Just let out a nice little exhale or some kind of vibration. It doesn't have to be a cry. Just let out some kind of little vibration with me real quick. Just kind of test it. Can you feel the vibration in your hands? Helps the observing conscious self witness the experience, and it helps unconscious parts that may be carrying unconscious pain, because that's just part of the human experience, whether living with trauma or not, quite frankly, to connect. And now I get to use my voice, engage my body, engage my emotions, engage my observing self, engage all these different aspects, engage my nervous system, engage all these different aspects. And I don't need anything. Like, I love coping tricks that we don't need money for. We don't need to go pay to see somebody to do this. We're all worthy of healing. And when we can have these tools to harness at home, it makes a world of difference. Because then parts can know that we're not just showing up when we have resources. We're not just showing up when we have a lot of money. We're not just showing up when we have a lot of therapy appointments. We're not just showing up when someone else is there to help walk us through how to show up for ourselves. We're showing up for our parts, and they can feel that. The more consistent I am with my practices, the more my parts trust me, and the more relief I feel because my parts trust me. So, just one more time for good measure. Nice little exhale of some kind, and just feel the vibrations. Take a deep breath. Just kind of notice what you feel in your body. Play with it. You're allowed to play. You're allowed to play with the healing journey. You're allowed to play with your own vibrations. You're allowed to play with your own energy. You're allowed to play with your own consciousness. Okay? Don't be afraid to be present with your inner being. There's a lot of magic buried beneath that darkness. Speaking from experience. I feel a relief. My chest isn't quite as tense, and my belly is expanding just ever so slightly more when I breathe, because of just this one little thing. That one little thing I just did. A few seconds of energetic investment, and I get to reap a reward. And the relief comes quicker the more we do it. It used to take me hours to get to a place of relief. But because I was doing that every day, now I show up and my parts are like, oh, I know you. I know you. We've spent time together. But until there's that sense of familiarity between conscious awareness and subconscious or unconscious parts, they're not going to understand that I'm even trying to be here for them. I might show up and be like, okay, I just want to stop feeling like this. And then I do things to try and stop feeling like I'm feeling. That's not how we build trust with our parts. Because that intention is received as a direct message by our subconscious, unconscious. Parts know if we want to be present with our pain and get to know the deep crevices of our consciousness with tender compassion, versus whether we just want to show up, do a few things, and have our symptoms reduced. Parts can feel that intention directly. It's as if I'm walking up to them and saying, hey, can you stop being you now, okay? If I'm trying to get rid of my symptoms, versus, hello. Hello, my tender dear, my darling, my tender darling dear. I just want to be present with you. Parts will feel our intention as a very direct message within the consciousness, even if it's happening unconsciously. So, thanks so much for joining us. We are loving this healing journey as we explore a whole new way of being. Have a beautiful and blessed day, warriors.